Hello and welcome to the English Matura Express, the express to your success. My name is Maria and today we are going to have a look at note-taking skills. Hello and welcome back. My name is Maria and as I've already said, today we are going to have a look at note-taking skills in the English A-level for the monologue and the dialogue. Okay, let's start with a quick overview. So first of all, we're going to talk about the importance of note-taking in an oral exam. So why should we take notes? Then what should and what should not be noted. Next, we're going to have a look at two note-taking strategies. First of all, the bullet points and then the mind maps. And at the end, we're going to practice it and I will demonstrate you note-taking with an example. Okay, so the importance of note-taking. So why should we take notes? First of all, it helps us to structure. So it helps us to structure the monologue and the dialogue. And we can already think about linking words, because in your A-level exam it's very important to have a clear structure, and when you can think about this structure first, that might help. And so you can also note down some linking words and then you don't forget them when you're nervous and when you're talking. Good. Then it also helps you to avoid total blackouts. I mean, of course, blackouts can happen. It's a bad thing. We all know that. But at least you have some notes. So you can, if you are totally blank in your mind, you can just say, okay, calm down. Let's have a look at the notes and just start from there. Moreover, that would be a linking word to use. It helps you to summarize the given article and your own thoughts, because you have to read an article for the dialogue, and of course it's very difficult when you have your exam. So when you have to talk, it's very difficult to read again from the article. So you can't really say, okay, stop that and then read. It makes no sense. So it helps you to summarize it. Then it also helps you to remember good words, yeah, because it's an A-level exam, so you should have B2 vocabulary, so high vocabulary. And so in the preparation time, you can already think of some good vocabulary, good words, and note them down. And then it also helps you to stay focused on the most important aspects. Because when I'm very nervous, I like to start talking about, I don't know, my cat or something like that. Probably not in an exam, but when I'm nervous, I like to lose my focus. And so this, by taking notes, it helps you to stay focused and it helps you to follow the red thread, den roten Faden folgen. And yeah, so that's also very helpful. And I don't know if you are one of these people who can remember things better when they write them. So it helps a lot of people when they write them, they can easily remember it. And yeah, that is also very helpful. Good. So what should and what shouldn't be noted? I just move there. Okay. So you should read for the gist. So, I mean, of course, you should read for details too, if there are any interesting ones. But what is very important is to get the main message of the text. So what is it about, okay? So what are the main ideas? So that's very important to note them. Okay, so what is it about? Often it helps just to look at the title. But yeah, then also read the article. Then it's important to note down important statements, yeah? So what do you think is quite important to mention? What is quite interesting to mention? What is good to know? What struck you as completely new? So that are really important things. And of course, your opinion on the topic. Okay, so what do you think about that? Because you have to talk, so it helps when you talk about your opinions, your views on it. And some keywords that help you remember what's the article about. So what are the subtopics of the article? Do not note, up there, unimportant information, so too many details that nobody will remember, and word-by-word transcriptions of the article. So don't read it. I mean, because it's a speaking exam, and of course it would be nice just to read it and then, yeah, goodbye. But try to take down just some words, note down just some words and phrases, and no whole sentences. Good. Now let's have a look at 2 strategies of note-taking skills. Strategy 1 are the bullet points, Stichworte. So try only to note down the most important keywords, as I've already mentioned. Again, don't write whole sentences, and make points, yeah, like bullet points, like it's in there. Yeah. What are the advantages? I think it's quite easy to create because you just have to make one point after the other, and so it's also very fast to do that. And I think the layout is quite clear. So I really like bullet points because I really like lists. And yeah, the disadvantages, the layout isn't as clear as mind map layouts, especially in the case when you want to add things. Yeah, when you have a mind map, you can just add a branch and then a next idea. But if you have your bullet points and then you come up with another thought, it's bad to just put it in between. So that's maybe bad, and so it can more easily lead to confusion. Yeah. So if you do it, leave some space between, because maybe you get some more ideas and then you can just add the ideas. Then we have mind maps. So what to do? Okay, first of all, think about the main aspects of the topic or the article, and then divide it into subtopics, because then you can have these kind of clouds and then you can connect them in a way. Yeah. So then start creating a mind map, and also try to work accurately, so carefully, that you can still make something out of it, and that it's not just a big mess looking like a cloud and you can't really see anything. And yeah, what are the advantages? It's a very clear layout and also easy to create. I mean, it's kind of the same like a bullet point, but I think it's maybe a little bit clearer, and you can write it very big on your sheet in big letters. You can use big letters, and so maybe it helps you when you're very nervous, that you can just look at the nice clouds. And yeah, and the disadvantages, of course, it takes longer than just writing down notes, because you have to think about it. Okay, what is the main topic? What are some subtopics? Yeah. So here is an example. For example, about a mind map example. Now here's my face. Good. A mind map example about communication and the media. So we have like mass media. Okay, that's a subtopic, and one form of mass media is the television. And what is in television? Yeah, documentaries, current affairs programs, soap operas, and so on. So that's an example. So you have to think when you create a mind map. Of course, you also have to think when you create bullet points, but there you can just add another point, and I think that's fine. But when you have a mind map, you already start thinking when creating it, and maybe that helps, because then you've already thought about it. And so yeah, so you have to decide. I would just try both and then see, okay, what works best for me. Maybe just one time you try so not one time in the exam, at home for the preparation. So one time you try the bullet points, one time you try the mind map, and just see how you manage it. So how you manage it, how you manage the time, yeah, if you have enough time to do that, and so on. Good. Practice and demonstration of note-taking skills. So before you start taking notes, it is quite important to do some brainstorming. You can also, for example, for the monologue, you can also just create a tiny mind map. Yeah. So what do you want to talk? There are 3 bullet points in the monologue, and of course an introduction and a conclusion. So what do you want to say? And for the dialogue, there you really just have to see, okay, which technique works best for you. I mean, for the monologue as well, but the monologue is just something, yeah, you have to learn it and then you have to talk about it. But for the dialogue, you have to work with the text, and so you can really practice that. So first of all, what would be a good idea is to read the article. I mean, yeah, there is an article, so it's a good decision to read the article. Then highlight it according to your color code. So maybe you highlight important aspects in red and details or funny facts in green. Okay, so think about a color code. I mean, if you're not really a colorful person, that's fine as well. You can just underline some or circle some information, whatever works best for you. But really do something with it and don't just leave it blank, because with the blank article you don't know where to start when talking about it. Then find out what the main statement is, so read for the gist of the text, what it's about, and add your own knowledge. So what are your ideas? What do you think about that? So here I have an example. We had an oral exam about the topic advertising. I don't know if you remember, but you can have a look at it, of course, again. It's about advertising, so just type in advertising Matura Express and there it is. And it's about packaging and effective advertising. And yeah, so here we have the article. So read it, and here you see what I made of it. So first of all, what I try to do is, what is the main statement of the article? So that's just one example. Of course, you have to reread the text and underline it, but that's just, these are two very crucial and important thoughts when reading a text. So the first one is main statement of the article. So the main statement, I think, is that packaging is planned, so that there is a strategy, a system behind it. So that's the main message for me, because they talk about, okay, how they do that, why they do it, and that it's not just, okay, they just put a package around it. There is a lot of thought put in it. And add in your own knowledge and experience. So that's where I thought about, okay, am I more likely to buy things that are packed in a flashy way? So I try to ask myself this question. Yeah, so do I think the packaging is important? Do I buy things that are packed in a beautiful way? So that's something that I want to add when talking about it. Of course, there are many other details in the text, but that breaks it down, I think. You have like this system behind it, so that there is an advertising strategy behind packaging, and what does it make with me? So do I really buy it just because of the packaging? Yeah, so that's something to think about. And yeah, conclusion. First of all, as I've already mentioned, it is very important to take notes. It just doesn't work with a blank sheet of paper in front of you. I mean, I think you never really see people who give big speeches and presentation. I mean, they do that in movies. They have these great presentations and speeches about loyalty and moral, but they don't have notes, and that makes no sense. So it's a long not that long, but I mean, so 5 minutes speaking in an exam situation can be long. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. And it really helps if you have some safety guards. So you have these notes that you can kind of rely on, and you have half an hour preparation time. So just take some notes and don't stare out of the window. So that's first of all important. Concentrate and take notes. Then try to structure it. Structure it with colors or with size, because it doesn't help you when you have notes which you can't work with, because you, I don't know, you write like a 5-year-old, or I don't know. So really try to create usable notes so that you can use. Then look up the 2 vocabulary. You have time to do that, and it makes a good impression. Of course, you should learn them at first. The vocabularies, I'm sorry, but then you can also use the time to look up some good words and note them down. Then what's very important too is don't write whole sentences. I mean, at first it seems pretty good to do that, because then you have the whole sentences, and in case you lose your thread or you're too nervous, you can just read them. But it's an oral exam, and of course they have to grade you according to your oral speech, yeah. And if you just read, it's hard to say like, yeah, he or she is a good reader. So it's very important to speak, and I think it's easier to speak if you don't have the whole sentence in front of you. But to be honest, I also really like to write whole sentences, but yeah, you shouldn't do that. And yeah, finally, which I think is also quite important when taking notes, try to structure it in order of your presentation. So already try to think about, okay, especially in a monologue, with what do I want to start with, which argument, yeah? So what is my introduction? Do I have a catchy phrase, or do I have a quote I want to mention? So try to structure it. I mean, you can do it by just writing some numbers next to it and then just start it with it. And also the dialogue. I mean, the dialogue, it's a discussion, but you have the active part of it. So it's also good that you just think about, okay, with what do I want to start? Where do I want to talk a lot about it? Yeah, if you have one point, you think, yeah, I have really good arguments, so try to start with this point, yeah, that you can talk, and yeah, good. I think that's it for today. Yeah, it is. Thank you for your attention, and yeah, don't forget to take notes. And if you have any questions, just write them in the comments, and we are happy to answer them for you. And yeah, we wish you, a really nice Wednesday night, and bye bye. See you next week.